See if they can earn one win. One win for them in this best of 5 series is a huge achievement.
Yeah, exactly. And their drafting is also something where from the get-go you could see that they were hoping to get an early Greymane pick with a ban on Arthurs. So Tomb is always a bit of a special case. Question remains, what happens when we go to more common maps? What happens when we go to Curse, when we go to Sky Temple? Are they going to fall back to the normal ban patterns that we've seen so far with Abathur and Genji being prioritized? Or are they going to have a little bit of a different approach to this?
Fnatic's always been a team, I felt like in 2017, that kind of had their own spin on what they wanted to play no matter what. There was a Tacitor ban no matter what last year, even teams adjusting. So we'll see if they will have their own flavor or if we'll get the repeated flavors that we've been getting the last couple of days. Battleground number 2. Infernal Shrines. Fnatic with the choice. Leftovers want first pick again.
Okay, first pick twice for them.
So Infernal Shrines, a map that we are seeing often, and it looks like we will continue to see it this year in 2018 as a staple European map. Leftovers, did they play it the other day? Let's check really quickly here. They played on Towers, they played on Infernal Shrines for game number 1. Here is where they showed off Johanna, Rhaegar, Sonya as their first couple of picks.
Yeah, they are very high on Johanna,
Yeah.
and I would like them to change that.
And they were quite deadly with the Sonya. Wasn't enough, but Putibus was quite aggressive on the Sonya.
I'm really surprised that we don't see more ETC from them. Not only because ETC overall is really strong, but because Lauber is known for the hero. Yes, his Johanna is good too, but Johanna right now just doesn't feel like she is getting the results for them.
Why are you hating on JoJo, man? I feel like every time she comes up, you're
down
with Johanna.
I like JoJo in general, but right now she's just not in the place that I want to. I'm okay with them picking Johanna. I'm just not okay with them picking Johanna every single time, or like with such a high priority. I think she's not really in the spot where that's warranted. On Tomb, I can get it, and I've known she has also a few good arguments in her favor on Infernal Shrines because of the AoE during the objective time. But if I compare that to what an ETC can offer to the composition, I would take ETC over Johanna in that particular setup every day. So that's one of those things where I feel they don't have the success with a hero that justifies them still continuing to pick her that much.
Yeah, especially when we saw the ETC played by Lauber when he filled in for the Zealots last year in 2017. He just seemed to be a natural fit. In fact, he made a few plays for the Zealots, which we were not expecting. So that's why we're kind of on this fence here of like, hey, give us some ETC. Now, let's move into it. Game number 2. Fnatic is ahead 1-0 over their opponents. Leftovers will open with the first ban of the game.
Yeah, and now they can show if they have some new ideas of how they want to start this off. Again, the two most dominant bans that we have seen on the first positions were... Reminds me of a little anecdote that we had earlier. So ETC banned out. The question is, will Fnatic ban out Genji? He is the highest priority in bans that we see in Europe right now, way above 80% at this point. And now the question just remains, will Fnatic ban him out, or do they not mind if it's getting picked up by the Leftovers? Leftovers, on the other hand, after they've just seen Breeze on ETC, they say, okay, we are not afraid of playing against Abathur, but ETC don't really need that again.
I feel like if we see anything from Fnatic here, it might be a ban on Greymane more, and they'll move into an Uther if Genji is picked up. I could see a world where Smexy's like, listen, I got this. Give me a stun, give me a Divine Storm, it's over with.
I really don't think that Greymane is that big of a priority when it comes to bans. He's a great early pick because he's so flexible, and it allows you to change your setup also a lot and adapt to your opponent. So he's really flexible. But when you look at the games that he has been played, he's currently sitting at roughly a 40% win ratio. And that isn't really something where we said, okay, he's first ban material, we need to get rid of him. As an early pick, absolutely understandable. But when you have still heroes around like Genji and Hanzo and even Abathur that can get banned, I would always prioritize that ban over Greymane, unless you're going up against a team that has a Greymane fetish and picks him in 100% of the cases.
Well, Fnatic agrees with you, so Genji gets banned out. In return, Leftovers grabs the Greymane, so there he is. Now, will Fnatic go down a different route as they always do and pick up the heroes they want instead? We did get the Leoric a little bit earlier on 2 Spider Queen, but Leoric makes sense on that battleground. He's a great bottom laner, and he brings that wave clear. Also, the Entombs are relatively easy to hit with the lanes being so close. So don't know if we'll get him as early this time.
Yeah, the early priority on Leoric was interesting the last time, so overall he's fantastic, but I don't think you need the early pick on him. Gul'dan was banned a lot, and we talked about this earlier today. Like, he really rises in priority for a lot of these teams. We have seen him play the entire time, but at this point he makes it into first pick material. We have even seen the occasional ban against him, but he hasn't really replaced one of those first bans like Abathur, Genji, and also occasionally Hanzo. But Gul'dan, always a great pick in our Infernal Shrines in particular. And Malfurion is really making his way into the meta right now. The teams are leaning way more towards him as an early pick. That was true not only for Dignitas in the last series, but also Fnatic now starting to pick way more Malfurion.
Do we see a world where leftovers can move into Abathur? Have they played a lot of Abathur in the past?
I don't really expect Abathur to be played here, to be honest.
Yeah. Even with the possible double Grey main?
That's double Grey main is a big argument in his favor. I was just always a bit torn with Abathur on the battleground here in particular, because one of the problems that you have is it makes it really difficult when you fall behind early on, thanks to a good Punisher push, for example, especially since the Punishers, through all the changes that we've seen, the early Punishers are now stronger. So before those changes came in, and when the Punishers usually didn't get more than maybe the wall, then I feel Abathur had more of a position here. But right now, if you lose the early game and then the Punisher starts pushing through and your opponent commits to it and it's not uncommon that you can even lose a fort or get really low on it. And once that you start to fall behind with Abathur too much, it's always difficult to claw your way back into the game.
Alright, well, Abathur was not picked up. We have the traditional Rhaegar, which was a high priority for leftovers already on day one, and after the trends that we've seen the last couple of days, fits in here. Leoric will be the third pickup here for leftovers. Bans coming in for Fnatic, and they are hovering / thinking about the Tyrael. Tyrael used in conjunction with a Greymane to dive down a back line, get that holy ground, sanification as well. So it's just a safe ban, not really something that really yells leftover play style, but something that fits with Greymane.
It's more, yeah, it's more so about protecting the Gul'dan, exactly. The Greymane combo with Tyrael is insanely strong. You dive with both into the back line, and that's where Gul'dan doesn't really want to be. It's also, of course, a tool that if you use it in time, can really screw with Gul'dan's ability to keep himself and his teammates safe thanks to a well-timed Horrify. Yeah. So, good ban on Fnatic's side, and as you said, more so something where on the meta aspect they don't really want to deal with it, not necessarily because the leftovers have shown an affinity for the hero. Malthael now also banned out, always jumping up in priority on this map here. Tricked has seen a lot of plays with him already, and he has a pretty decent win ratio across the regions now when we look at North America, Korea and Europe. So Malthael currently sitting at roughly 75% win ratio across all regions when he's being picked. And in this case, on Infernal Shrines, he shines, so leftovers just get rid of him. Yeah,
for those wondering why he shines on Infernal Shrines, the ability to put the deadly carpet down consistently during the shrine phase and hitting a couple of members becomes scary in sustained team fights.
Yeah, and just simply because everyone is stacked on the shrine itself. So Tormented Souls, you jump into the opponent's team, and once you pop Tormented Souls, that forces a reaction out of the opponent. You demand attention with that.
You ready to have fun? I'm ready to have fun. Medivh and Diablo picked up here for Fnatic. The Leyline Apocalypse combo is beautiful in itself and a reason to pick these two heroes, but Breeze by himself on Diablo, he showcased this last year a few times when he had the chance. He is deadly on this hero.
Breeze is disgusting on that hero. It's actually insane. When he has, when it's, of course there's way more to the game than only one hero and one player. Sure. But if they play a game where he gets the opportunity to really make a few plays with Diablo and shine on him, I've seen him in scrims and also outside when we are thinking about last year, second half of 2017. Very few times did they play Diablo, but when they did, there were several cases where he single-handedly just destroyed an entire team, and it's absolutely insane. Especially in the early game, it's already oftentimes a problem, but if he gets to the late game where he has the reset on his cooldown after domination on 16, it's crazy. So that's definitely going to be a huge threat to the leftovers that they will have to deal with somehow. And they have tools. They have Greymane. They would probably do really well thinking about getting on Cursed Bullet here. And they have Leoric out also as well. So they have a couple of tools that they can really use against him. But that's definitely, that's the main hero to watch out for now when we're talking about Fnatic.
Junkrat, I'm actually interested to see how that helps out against the Diablo. Medivh kind of mitigates it with the portals, being able to save Diablo if he gets a little bit too far and gets bumped back in by Junkrat. But it's an interesting option here for leftovers. Final pickup for Fnatic coming in soon.
Yeah, and at this point we are looking for the offlaner. We are going to see, obviously, Quacknix on Medivh. We have now with Arthur's that offlaner situation. And Arthur's and Diablo both on the Shrine. Pretty huge here for them, actually.
Great clear, yeah. Diablo more of the bodyguard around that area. Gosh, grabbing someone and throwing them into an Arthas as Diablo seems like that's how you kill a target pretty quickly here.
Yeah, the one thing that is concerning for me is Greymane is going to have a very, very rough time with this.
Even going in for a poke after a post 7 when you get the extra charge on Diablo. Each, I don't know. Devil's Due at level 1. I'm scared for leftovers.
Yeah, also with the globe changes that you've been talking about earlier, as Diablo with Devil's Due, you are able to keep yourself alive so easily in these situations. So this is going to be interesting for sure. At that point, it's very, very tricky for leftovers to really break through this. Especially the Arthur's Diablo combo. Diablo alone already is a big issue. If you have Arthur's right next to him and he slows down Greymane and the other attacks, and who do you focus here? Like, both of them can establish such a strong presence on the Shrine. It's going to be difficult to break through that, especially since it's mainly Muradin. Leoric is not really that tanky tank that you have. He's more the ghost that goes in after 13, 16 into the backline and tries to be a nuisance there, which he can definitely do, but I think this is going to be a rough game for him.
Only one way to win this. Bloodlusted Muradin with Skullcracker.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. Let's go to game number 2. It's Infernal Shrines here. We'll see if the leftovers can take on Fnatic, who has drafted a beefy composition for this battleground.
And they start off to the left side of the map with Bad Benny on Arthur's, Mena on Gul'dan, Quacknix on Medivh, Breeze on Diablo, and Smexy on Malfurion.
On the right side in the red, the leftovers. DAB will be playing Greymane, Linked on Rhaegar, Potiboss on Leoric, Labra playing Muradin, and Black Kidney on Junkrat.
Black Kidney on the red here, spamming the Trick logo. And yeah, I am very interested to see how this early game is going to work out for the leftovers. If they fall behind in the early game, then I think coming back into this would be very, very rough after 10 hits. The Shrine control for Fnatic is absolutely exceptional. And maybe with a couple of good moves through Junkrat and Isolation, they can make early kills happen that would give them the lead here.
Picks are important. They need picks somehow.
Yeah, and I feel really this is where Junkrat is going to be the one who can set up a couple of plays for them. So if they make that happen, that would be awesome for them. Already slowing down the rotation a little bit, good shots here. Just a bit of poke damage against Mena in particular. It's of course always great. Gul'dan, he needs that hit point pool, and if you can just shoot that down immediately, that's already a bit of an edge that you have.
And the picks are going to be difficult because of this guy, Quacknix, flying around on the Medivh, providing vision. This is the early game duty of a Medivh player in most scenarios when you know that your opponent can find a way to get a kill on you. Float around like an eagle, fly like an eagle, and make sure that Muradin does not jump onto your team and land a Stormbolt.
Yeah, exactly. So Lauba, in the meantime, on his sad cloud, is just like dancing around a bit. I mean, overall, if you look at this, it's just the solo lane up at the top where we have Leoric and Arthur's. Leoric has started to rotate a bit more aggressively between the two lanes, allowing the remaining heroes of the team to simply move as 4. But overall, this is just a rotation game at this point. Not too much aggression, just grabbing the camps at level 1, trying to make sure you don't miss out on experience. And here comes the first move. Black Kidney barely getting out of there as Breeze engages, and all of a sudden he finds himself the target of the attention. And Quack trying to save him. It looked for a moment as if Diablo was dead in the waters, but Medivh comes in with a shield.
Yeah, and the clever play there by the Junkrat too, getting the knockback on the Diablo. The portal was used on the top right to go in for the kill, which made it difficult for Diablo to stay alive if Medivh did not come in with that force of will. So heads up play by both our teams there. Medivh saving Diablo, but leftovers finding an opportunity and trying to seize it. Yeah,
and they also have the lead in experience now. For a short time, granted, but the early level 4 in their hands at this point. And of course, we're still waiting for that shrine to be announced, since then the teams are going to start to commit to a few more team fights. And of course, Breeze, I mean, we're talking about Diablo, and the level 1 is not really coming as a surprise here. Devil's Due is just a must-have talent, especially after the globe changes. It's just way too good. From the shadows, immediately picked up on the 4. And in the meantime, the deep roots once again for Malfurion to just get that extra zoning tool that he can use, especially on the shrines, and all those choke points that lead into the center of them.
From the shadows. Such a scary talent to face off against. Diablo diving across the map, it feels like, to get the picks on you. Leftovers have to make sure they're near each other. Save their teammates if Diablo comes in. Mane finds himself taking a little bit of damage here for Boss, but he's all by himself as Mexi is hanging out with Mane to keep him nice and healed up. Boss won't push the issue too much.
Yeah, DAB on the way to the top 2 as the rest of the Leftovers are starting to take the control of the Shrine. We have Junkrat at the bot lane against Medivh still, so it's all about trying to get a fair lead in minion stacks, but at the same time not missing out on experience. And at this point, both of the teams are starting to commit to the objective itself.
A lead for Leftovers, 13-7. Boss getting engaged upon by Diablo, and he is down. That will be a Leorc, no longer to play for a little bit here until he's able to get back. Gonna try and use his trait to get back into the game, but a portal goes down, and Bad Benny zones everyone away from Leftovers. They have to walk away from the Arthas, allowing for Fnatic to move in and grab a few minions for themselves. Yeah,
very aggressive position from Fnatic already, and a great combo as well. Diablo slamming the target, Leoric in that case, straight into the roots. But the control has been taken again by Leftovers. They moved straight in. Good position also on the healing totem from Rhaegar, and Fnatic is willing to give this one up. They're moving away and they're simply saying, okay, let's not fight this right now and just let them have the Punisher. Let's not commit too heavily. If we die here and they get the objective, then we're in more trouble.
Leftovers did a great job of just staying on target there. Realizing their threats, avoiding them, and then going back to finishing the objective. They knew that's what they wanted to do as a team. And even though Fnatic played that well, getting the kill on Leoric and even getting Arthas in the back line to reposition Leftovers, the moment Leoric came back, they took their rightful position back on the Shrine and were able to finish the shots. And now we have them with a nice half-level experience lead over Fnatic for the time being.
Exactly. For now, they're looking really good with this. And of course, we have to watch out how exactly Fnatic plays it from here. We've seen the aggression. First of all, Breeze with the immediate engage and then slamming the target into the roots, which allowed them the initial kill. But also the way that Medivh set up the aggressive portal to allow Arthas to move into that backline. That's something where the Leftovers have to be very, very careful how they move around this, since that portal can appear at any moment, and then Junkrat in particular is in a lot of trouble. So Leftovers always have to watch out for all that positioning.
10 around the corner, the Leyland Seal that we talked about, coming in with Diablo into the APOC is something that Leftovers will have to think about constantly. We do have tools for them to get out. Junkrat, Muradin, Leoric have their own tools. Rhaegar, if he's not CC'd, should be able to run out of it. It's mostly Grayman that has to be a bit careful, but he has teammates that can assist him. 9 1/4. Keep up with the poke. Leftovers are doing a substantial job in staying ahead.
Yeah, they're doing really well when it comes to just simply soaking XP at this point. The problem is also after the combo hits that you just talked about, that you have Arthas that can simply walk you down. So that's another big issue. Once that the Apocalypse actually hits and Arthas is able to close in on you, it's very tough to disengage from it, especially if you have Malfurion laying down roots and the Howling Blast of Arthas himself, of course.
The CC is terrifying for Fnatic, especially as the game progresses. At 16, you get Remorseless Winter. Basically, we're painting a picture here that if Fnatic gets the catch they want at level 10, Leftovers will be hurting. It's on them to make sure that Fnatic somehow, even with the layers of CC they have, Leftovers prevent it.
And here's also the adjustment that the Leftovers made. I talked about it during the draft, but with the situation as is, we have Curse Bullet now taken by Greymane over Go for the Throat. So they're really starting to target the front line with this. They know they have to break through it. They have to somehow start with Threaten Breeze, which is, of course, especially dangerous once that he has the full soul stacks. So at that point, that hit point pool of Diablo just gets out of control, and that's where Greymane with the Cursed Bullet is their best tool. Whereas these days, when you look at Greymane builds overall, the dominant talent is Go for the Throat, since normally you're trying to take Genji down, Hanzo down, you're trying to go for Tracer, you always go for those squishies and try to eliminate them fast.
The second part about this too, with the Cursed Bullet into the Junkrat Tire, even if you don't grab the Diablo like you want to, and get that extra damage in, you can kill other targets pretty well between those two. That's a lot of firepower between the Leftovers, and then Greymane can follow up into the final kill. If Medivh, that's where another part of this composition comes together for Fnatic, doesn't prevent it.
Yeah, here comes the ley line already being used, only against one target, against DAB. Not the best ley line that we've seen here. Breeze doesn't even react with the Apocalypse. He was just trying to see what they can do, if they can get maybe an easy kill against him. Decide against committing too many resources, but with now the temple activating at the top, they are already in position with 5, whereas we just now see Leftovers move Leoric to the top.
Well, that is still one heroic. Now Leftovers will not have to worry about for a full minute. They can now move in and try to fight over this Punisher, an important one with the Arcane being the one they pick up. A Bad Benny takes the damage here from Leo with the Drain Hope. He goes down to half health. And Leftovers will now play around the cooldown game. In 20 seconds, they'll have a Curse Bullet back up once again. But Fnatic will have their own lane line in 35.
Yeah, Bullet immediately coming out here. And Fnatic, they really need to look for an opportunity right now and not play too passive against this. This is an important one for them. Already, Lauber gets flipped, but the roots are not on point, so he's not locked down. Fnatic needs to be careful here. The position for the Leftovers is not too bad, and they constantly poke with especially Junkrat, of course, getting 8 points out here. Good drag again, going straight for Leoric this time. Here comes the slam. Portal is out as well, helping them to move out of the March of the Black King as Portipos uses ult.
Also breaking the Drain Hope that was coming out too. Bad Benny a little bit too far forward, but with the Force of Will, it'll be okay. The Horrify connects with Muradin. Breeze goes in, but an instant cleanse will keep him alive. DAB turning around to put some damage, but Portibus, maybe not so lucky, goes in with a swing. Junkrat says, all right, get away from my boy. Pushes everyone away, and Leftovers are surviving.
Okay, there's so much cool stuff happening right now. First of all, Breeze went in on Junkrat and tried to get the kill, but as you mentioned, the cleanse actually preventing the slam afterwards, and that was important since the Apocalypse was already triggered, so the combo doesn't connect. Then Junkrat with that flip of Breeze over the wall, but he still can charge through the gate and go for the target. So there's a lot of cool stuff that happened in this encounter. Fnatic still walks away with the objective, and they also got a kill. Breeze already using the portal to be a bit aggressive here, but they always look for that opportunity now.
I feel like we've been saying a lot about our teams, but even these teams that are considered our lower ranks, Slobber, hang on, take some damage, are showing up this weekend. Leftovers is making some small plays, but Fnatic, even though they're still starting to truck through, they get this Punisher. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
We saw that again. I mean, the fight is still going on, but we have Junkrat disrupting so many plays here. And now we have Lauber jumping in, trying to go for Quapnix, and he's down as from the side, Leoric all of a sudden appears. A second kill as we have Arthur's falling, and that is looking good for the Leftovers.
The underdogs making a statement here, going in, looking for Breeze. They will be able to save him, but had to use the Horrify.
Nature's Cure just also saved Breeze as the next Stormball came out, but the Master's touch stacks got lost on Medivh as Quapnix died here. But especially Junkrat is interrupting so many plays. What we saw up there to the top was the Punisher jumping in, stunning Muradin, the roots follow, and Breeze walks up to kill him. He walks up to slam him over and then push him into the team. And at that moment, Junkrat moves in and just pushes Breeze back, and he doesn't have the chance to close the gap in time. So all these little things that currently happen that disrupt the flow that Fnatic wants to establish here. And then Leftovers turn around, get a double kill, and if you look at experience, it just shows they have an entire level lead at this point.
An entire level lead over Fnatic. Leftovers gotta be happy about that, but they still have to finish the game. Heroics will be up soon, 20 here, 4 gold down. Arthas will also be able to pop into his Heroic as well in about 10 seconds. So Fnatic, while still on the same talent tiers, looking to clear out the waves and hopefully get Quapnix in a spot where he can start to get those Master Touch stacks back.
Yeah, that's rough. He was nearly about to complete those, and now them being completely reset, that's an issue. It was a good save at first, but then Leoric moving in from the side and just simply slamming him into the ground with his mace, that was a bit too much. But I really like the interrupt potential here from Leftovers, and Junkrat has a huge part in this. Fnatic has so much CC, so much lockdown, there's so much that potential, but they can't really unfold it right now. And to be honest, that has to start to worry them. One combo is all they need to have a massive win in a team fight here. But to this point, they haven't really got it. I mean, we haven't even talked about what happens when they get a perfect Leyline Steel combo off with Apocalypse and Malfurion just hits the Twilight as well on top of it.
What happens there? Leftovers dies. That's what happens.
Yeah, so there is potential for Fnatic to get an entire team wipe out of a good comp. But so far they haven't gotten it.
Well, Leftovers will have 16 before Fnatic. Shrine activating on the bottom side, and they have made some progress in breaking some forts down to lower health. Breeze is in the middle here, gets saved by Quapnix with a Force of Will and a Portal. They back up to grab their Mercs and push on the top side.
The 16 is going to be an important talent for Fnatic. Domination alone on Diablo is going to make sure of that. But as you said before, Leftovers have it first. And in this case, it lines up beautifully with the next objective. So the Leftovers have a good chance of grabbing another Punisher here and then moving through the bot lane.
Fnatic manages to get this up and go push top and take that forward. That'll be a nice chunk of experience for them. Having 16, to defend against a Punisher push is always helpful, staying on the same talent tier as your opponent.
Great reaction here. Instead of going top and trying to defend, wasting time, the first reaction out of leftovers is, guys, let's go in and make sure that we push and force Fnatic back. They force their opponent to react and don't react to their moves. Top 4 is still going to fall, but Fnatic had to retreat since leftovers was starting to threaten the bottom keep wall.
And they left one on the Shrine to clear it up, so they would be able to get the Punisher regardless. Great macro play here from leftovers. And knowing that when you have a lead, taking that advantage and trying to pressure your opponents is one of the best ways to keep them at bay. Let's see what they can do here with this Punisher.
Now Fnatic has 16 now, and that was an important talent to grab for them for sure. So definitely something where Diablo's power spike is going up now thanks to domination. We have reabsorption and also the Ruinous Affliction. So there's a lot of tools that they can utilize. But let's see how much the leftovers can get out of this push at the bot lane now. No, not too much.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, it's one of the weakest Punishers to get. No freeze to try to lock down a target. None of those wonderful arcane beams to burn down the back line.
The top lane got also pressured by the Shaman camp. Leoric is currently taking care of it, but that's always a bit of a tricky move. Diablo just doesn't care. The bullet is the biggest threat to Diablo right now, but you can see that even with the bullet against him and the immediate aggression on top of it, Breeze is absolutely fine with that move. Greymane, of course, adapted his own build also a bit just to be even more of a threat to him with Alpha Killer. Arthas and Diablo have to be careful, but overall, a bullet alone just doesn't really hurt Breeze too much. One globe and all of that is already bad.
Well, now leftovers have to be careful with their combo because of reabsorption on Medivh. You can suddenly keep that Diablo even more topped off.
Oh yeah.
Deadly there. If they make a mistake, leftovers definitely gonna be following that level 16 power spike for Fnatic. Fnatic feeling a little bit more comfortable, are actually looking for a fight, constantly moving in. Portal's coming in. It's going to be Linked on the side who just get caught. Breeze moves in. Gonna put him against the wall. 4-5 comes out. Rhaegar trying to stay alive, but a Twilight Dream should get him lower and lower. Leyline Seal, a bit of an overlap from Fnatic, but they finally clean up the kill.
They just used 4 ults for this. I don't like this at all. Gul'dan goes down, and they retreat again. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, but that was actually pretty bad by Fnatic. They did not only use Apocalypse, they used Apocalypse, Leyline Seal, Twilight. They lose everything except for Arthur's ult to get that kill. And then they were counter-killed because they didn't have any resources left, and now they lose Diablo here. Fnatic is definitely a bit on tilt at this point.
They're having a really hard time here. Breeze losing out on those souls now, will come back, but now he is definitely less durable than he was before.
They didn't need even a single ult to get that kill. But even if they commit to ults, 1 is enough. The root alone was already good enough, having the body block there. If you want to commit to an ult and have the Apocalypse being used, that was fine. But then you have the Twilight Dream. They stacked 4 ults. Well, not quite fair. They had first Horrify, which was fine, pushing him back in. But after that, they stacked 3 ults, and that was a problem. So communication at this point, they need to improve that a bit, because that was a great situation for them with a good lead, and that should have been them killing Rhaegar, moving S5 and saying, okay, now we have time to push, now the map is ours. And instead it was a counter kill, and they even lost Breeze, who lost the stacks.
Good on leftovers for identifying that, turning it around, getting a couple kills, and continuing their lead as they hit level 19. Fnatic trailing behind as they are just now getting level 18, and with a Shrine at the top, spawning soon, things are getting dire for our team. The next Punisher could be a big deal for either.
Yeah, the ults are back though. Here comes the Apocalypse on the other hand, and the hit hits hard. Immediately there we have the combo, and this time it's worth it to use the cooldowns here. 2 heroes go down, and the double kill definitely making that a good trade for them. They're trying to go for DAB, Diablo again, Horrify used to a triple, and this is more like it. More synergy coming out of Fnatic this time, and they are starting to close not only the experience gap, but also taking structures all over the place.
Much better, and also devastating charge finishes for Diablo, which is amazing. Whenever you finish that off, the amount of damage you can burn off of a tank. Avatar, Muradin may have a difficult time invading on this top shrine around the area when there's a lot of areas for you to slam someone into the wall.
Yeah, that was definitely way more like it. Couple of things earlier, a couple of problems, but this coordination was way better, and them getting the double kill there was already great, and then they have the portal cooldown available to chase down even a third one. Greymane didn't stand a chance here, and I mean, the death timers as they are right now make sure that this is definitely Fnatic's Punisher. There's no way around it. The level 20 hits for Leftovers and Fnatic. At this point, both teams just still all three keeps alive, but that could change soon if Fnatic, of course, moves in for this one.
So Burning Despair picked up here for our Leoric at level 20. Level 20 will give Leftovers the chance here to defend this push coming their way. Want to be able to bait it over the wall and then peel it down to the middle keep. One of the best ways for them to have the defense. They also grab Mercenary Camps on the bottom side to try and get Fnatic to pay attention to that lane instead. We'll see if Fnatic decides to go ahead and just push all the way forward for a keep, because so far they look like it as they grab their minion waves and get them closer and closer towards that keep.
To be fair, this could be a game. Fnatic has their cooldowns ready again. If they pull off another combo from what we just saw, they can get a kill or two here, and then they will go straight for the core and not even waste their time any longer. So this is one of those moments where if you're Leftovers, you know you're in trouble. You need to be very, very careful here. They already go for Lauber. Here comes the cleanse out, and Cestral coming through as well. A lot of cooldowns already used. Riptire comes in. Breeze is low, and he is down.
He is down, and he's fully down for a full minute. Didn't have the 100 souls. Manny turns around, putting some damage out. Smexy moves the Twilight Dream to keep his team alive. But Rhaegar's on the side, ready to drop down a totem to slow down the team. Portal will save everyone on Fnatic for now, but Leftovers defend the fight.
They save the keep. They can actually save the keep now. Fnatic doesn't even get the keep. If they pull the combo off completely, they have a chance to go for it. But in this case, they don't even get, they literally could have threatened core with a kill. But the exact opposite happens. Breeze dies without even using Apocalypse. No combo being used on their part. They put all the pressure at the beginning on Muradin. Didn't get the kill, and then the turnaround happens. The sync is off a bit, and now they are sitting there with a nearly 19-minute Punisher, and they haven't taken the keep of their opponent.
Welcome to the HGC Leftovers, putting up a fight against Fnatic. Still haven't earned the win, but they are impressing here on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, Leftovers are looking good. They definitely look already better than what we've seen on the first day. So yeah, they're improving. They're improving fast, and you can really tell that just having the experience of playing one match already gives you a bit of a more stable setup here. Also, Mene hasn't completed his level 1 yet. He's still 2 stacks away. Once that hits,
there it is.
Here we go, 20 minutes in. This is, of course, also going to give him a bigger power spike where he is going to be able to put more damage in. And it's noteworthy that Quacknix has still not completed his level 7 talent, the Master's Touch, because he got killed once during the mid-game, and that took a lot of the stacks away. So those two aspects have definitely played a bit on a role on how these fights have gone.
Yeah, there's a couple of quests that haven't been finished up. It actually kind of proves how hit and run this game has been for a majority of our teams.
Yeah.
The level 4 Frozen Waste almost completed at 126 right now on our Arthas, and all the way down to Junkrat, only 100 stacks so far on Taste for Explosion. So definitely a game that, while very high action, has been very hit and run from our teams, and they're not quite finishing these quests.
Yeah, and the damage output alone kind of shows already what has been happening here so far. Mene, for example, is sitting at nearly 200,000 siege damage. So does also Potiboss on Leoric. But if you look at the hero damage, then Fnatic is really hurting there a bit. Diablo is currently at 30,000, which is actually very impressive. But if you look at cooldown, he's only sitting at 33,000, so that's not a whole lot. And Medivh has barely crossed the threshold of Malfurion, who is 18k against 19. So overall, it just shows that not completing a lot of these quests early has hurt them. And you call it best, the hit and run style of play that we've seen. Not as many big team fights as you would have expected.
But they are close, and next fight should be able to allow those quests to finish up, which is pretty great for Arthas, keeping that target nice and slow whenever they attach to one. Great against Rhaegar, if you're really looking at one that you want to be able to slow down. Fnatic setting up their waves to push back out, as Leftovers have put an onslaught of minions towards them by grabbing the mercenary camps. So they want these pushing towards the opposite direction as they set up for the next shrine, which is now activating and will be here in 25 seconds.
Yeah, good positioning, by the way, from our tanks here. Always zoning, especially Lava on Muradin the entire time, making sure that there is no flank coming in. And Fnatic uses the vision to split Arthas off very safely towards the bot lane. But this is now the big shrine that we're talking about, and another one where Fnatic has a chance for that wombo combo. But if Leftovers get the early kill, then this could turn everything around once again. Breeze goes in. Nice. Double slam against Muradin. And here comes the ley line. And now we're talking. Blakidney in trouble. Here comes the Apocalypse. Hits completely. Malfurion also with the silence. Junkrat already going for his own Riptire. Trying to get maybe a kill in there. Not successful just yet. Bad Benny is low, but the 20 keeps him alive. Portals everywhere. What a fight. And not a single kill yet.
Yes, Leftovers survived the combo, and they are fighting back. Breeze, however, has his own combo back. Goes straight in for Leoric. The Ancestral will connect. Breeze kiting backwards. Absorption will help him and top him off for now. Our teams have gone through 3 cycles of fights, and no one has died.
Link keeps him alive, and he held this Ancestral cooldown back for so long throughout the entire combo here as well. Portals all over the place. Both of the teams going absolutely bananas here. Once again, Lauba dropping low as Breeze goes for him, slams him into the corners. Quatnix helping out with the portal to make sure that Diablo can safely retreat, but they are not done yet.
That's right, with Heroics being down, the main threat is the Diablo combo. He finds Link on the back. Rhaegar trying to escape. Portal comes out once again. Smexy on the bottom side taking some damage. He'll ice block the main damage from Greymane, even with the Force of Will, and Fnatic turns it around on the Leftovers. One falls, a second falls, and the other 3 have to run.
Fnatic finally gets the damage. The cleanse, the AB is alive. Blakidney on the other hand.
The poison?
No way! Greymane is down, and then we have Blakidney maybe falling as well. The problem was the Junkrat pushed Breeze into the range to make that move. He was trying to somehow save his teammate and put himself into danger here. Breeze by now has 55,000 damage on Diablo. He is murdering the front line, but it's insane how long the Leftovers survived here.
That's right, the Leftovers survived, but it just wasn't enough. Fnatic prevails, they push forward, and they go straight for the core, breaking through the shields, and with a few more seconds on death timers for our teams, Leftovers will be unable to turn around and try to defend this. They're doing their best they can with 2 members, with the big sounds coming out from Smexy. The rest of Fnatic turns around and looks at the core and goes up 2-0.
2-0 lead, but I have to say, Fnatic looked a little bit more shaky in the coordination of these wombo combos than expected, and Leftovers did a fantastic job controlling the chaos that ensured every single time Fnatic was attempting to set them up.
I still can't believe that a full Diablo combo landed on Muradin, dropped him down to 40%, and then a leyline seal into Apocalypse happened, catching 2 members, and yet everyone on Leftovers still survived. Incredible composure by them. It just fell a little bit short there at the end.
The composure is a really good point because they always kept their calm. And it was them that oftentimes with Junkrat were able to just reposition. Like, the displacement of Junkrat is such a fantastic tool if you go up against someone that has to organize very clearly a combo and sync up several abilities.
Sure.
Junkrat was a big game changer for a lot of these situations. And I'm pretty impressed by the Leftovers. Fnatic definitely not as happy about that game as they were about the first one. They looked very clean on Tomb, but now on Infernal, there was a lot more shaky in the execution than we expected it to be. Leftovers, on the other hand, definitely showing improvement from their first match that they played to the second now. And yeah, they didn't get a map win yet, but you can definitely see the team grow.
Yep, with it all said and done though, Fnatic is up 2-0, and they have a chance to end it with a 3-0 when we come back from this commercial. We'll see if Leftovers actually have a chance here to come back.